It's finished West Ham 2 and Brentford 1. I'm laughing at the live chat, clearly, not the result, because it wasn't a resounding result, was it? It wasn't really a feast of football, more a pot noodle, let's say. And 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. And I'm just about to steal another 10 or 15 minutes, and then we can all go about our business. Not a great game. I felt played at a far lower pace. Excuse me, a bit of glare again. A far lower pace than the last two. It was really funny. I felt the team needed a bit of cajoling, and they came out the traps ever so slowly. Brentford had hit the post within the first minute. And in fact, it's probably fair to say that Brentford, I didn't count. I don't have the stats. I think they had it in excess of 10 shots. They attacked a lot more than we did. In many respects, they didn't deserve to lose today. But it was a pre-season friendly. It's fine. It's okay. We don't overreact. And as an exercise in gaining fitness, then hopefully it was of some use. But as entertainment, not particularly good. Did we learn anything? I don't think we learned an awful lot aside from what the composition of the squad may be at the start of the season. Now, we saw players like Elise and Baptiste, who I would have hoped to have seen a little bit more of today, dropped from the squad. But there is some, I don't know if you know this news, there's something to bear in mind, and that is that the Reading friendly, we were due after this one to play Reading and play Bournemouth. The Reading friendly has been cancelled for reasons I don't know. So there's one less game, and for that reason, Moyes may well have decided to drop a few of the youngsters from it and start to work towards what he considers to be his starting lineup against Newcastle. I'll tell you how we set out today. Fabianski in goal, Ryan Fredericks at right back, Valbuena and Ogbonna in the centre, Aaron Cresswell at left back. The central midfield pairing of Mark Noble and Jack Wilshere. Fornals was playing centrally today, something I've wanted to see for quite a long time. I know something that a lot of you watching this have also been keen to see. Diangana on the left, Yarmolenko on the right, Sebastian Haller up top. There were the expected raft of changes at half time. There was a funny thing about the changes at half time, which a lot of them happened on 45 minutes, and Cullen came on. And it took the commentator until the 68th minute to realise that Josh Cullen was on the pitch. If you actually want to go back and watch it again, if you haven't wasted enough of your time already, just click back to 68 minutes. That's quite funny when he realises that Josh Cullen's on the pitch. You think, what have you been watching, mate? Anyway, as I say, Brentford hit the post after 1 minute, but after 4 minutes, we went ahead. Fornals played in Yarmolenko, and if you've been watching the previous games, you would have been thinking, no, it's on his right foot. He's going to try and shift it onto his left and do something, but he didn't. He hit the shot with his right foot low. It got a little bit of a ricochet, but low and to the goalkeeper's right or the left-hand bottom corner of the goal. 1-0. Now, it was funny, actually, because not only did Brentford hit the post, they'd also had a shot wide, and they continued to attack. They seemed happy to shoot from distance. Actually, distance, close by, it didn't seem to matter because they were making good inroads on us. And actually, they scored in the first half as well to make it 1-0. Now, what was really interesting is the goal came from a player that we have been looking at and we've been linked with quite extensively, which is Rico Henry, who is Brentford's left back. And in fact, he was, as I said earlier on, it wasn't really a feast of football. It was more of a pot noodle. There was one player that wasn't indulging in the culinary delights of the pot noodle, and that was Rico Henry, because he had Ryan Fredericks on toast instead. And so it seemed. The funny thing about that was, there was a lot of changes in the second half. But we'll get to those changes in a second. And Moyes had left Ryan Fredericks on the pitch, and Henry kept on running and going at him. And I felt that Moyes thought, right, I've had enough of this. So he brought on Ben Johnson almost immediately. That he brought Ben Johnson on. Brentford took took Rico Henry off, along with everybody else in their team. So basically, I don't know if it was the youth team, the reserve team, whoever it was, but Brentford's second team got changed after 60 minutes, and they were all right, to be fair. The youngsters, the reserves, played some nice football. They got some players that are really, really comfortable on the ball. It's probably worth noting as well that Brentford were missing their two best players, Ben Rama and Ollie Watkins. They weren't playing. Now, it was rumoured that, well, I say rumoured, the commentator suggested it. I don't know if it's a rumour. The commentator was saying maybe they'd been withdrawn because of interest from other clubs. And So I started reading a little bit much into that. I thought, maybe Rico Henry stayed on the pitch because we're interested in him. And then he sort of mused later on that maybe Declan Rice was missing because of rumours interest from Chelsea. I thought, no, I hope not. That's going to give us plenty to talk about during the week. I'm sure we can squeeze out another video on Declan Rice. Anyway, so what have we got? That's the Rico Henry scored half time. It was Rico Henry didn't score. What he did was he played a 1-2 in and around down the left-hand side. Very, very tricky player, and he actually played the ball over. And I think I wrote it down, the guy's name was Force, headed it in. It was quite a simple goal, but they were getting at us quite a lot, Brentford. It wasn't an epic performance. I'll take you through the individual players in a minute. Let's just talk through the game. Half-time substitutions: Bowen, Anderson, Antonio, Masuaku, Lanzini, Souček, and Cullen. They all came on, and as I say a little bit later on, Johnson came on for Fredericks. There was to be another substitution later on, which was Coventry. They came on for Mikel Antonio, who's injured. I'm very, very sorry to report that. He walked off the pitch, limped off the pitch, if that's any help. Because Mikel Antonio was pivotal in the reason why it was 2-1 to West Ham. Picking up the ball in roughly the left wing position, he was faced by 3 Brentford players. He basically either dribbled past them or muscled his way through them. Really impressive. Very, very direct. He was just heading towards goal. Thomas Souček had tracked his run. And Souček, Antonio managed to release the ball to Souček. I thought Souček's first touch was a little bit poor, but he seemed to react really well and finished well on his right foot and knocked it past the keeper. Scored a goal. Look, we'll get into this. We'll talk more about this in the week, I'm sure. But this guy's it doesn't really matter whether we're playing well or whether we're not playing well. Thomas Souček will score goals for West Ham. I'm not a betting man. Usually when I bet, I lose. Double figures for next season from midfield. I do wonder. He's such a good player. Just scores goals. I thought maybe in the second half the central midfield pairing of him and Cullen, fun enough, was not bad. Lanzini had come on by this point. Just flick through the rest of my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything in particular, and then we'll go through the players individually. No, it's just there's not an awful lot to report. Brentford had more shots than we did. I thought it was played at quite a slow pace. Okay, let's go through the starting lineup. In terms of how everybody played, Fabianski, it was nice to see him back. He had some saves to make because, quite frankly, Brentford attacked. Fredericks, look, I don't want to be accused of having a vendetta against him or anything like that, but it's just not good enough in the fullback position. I'm only repeating myself. You all know this. Something needs to be done, and it's quite clear that we will score goals. Even when we're playing badly, and I thought we played badly today, we scored goals. We will carry a goal threat. We need to sort out the defence, and that definitely needs to be looked at ASAP. Balbuena played alongside Ogbonna. I thought it was easy to get at. I thought it was a little bit steadier than when I saw him against Ipswich, but not great. Ogbonna next to him was leading the. He's a crafty player. You can see the Italian education because he does a lot of naughty stuff, a lot of the sort of naughty arts of football, whilst looking innocent. So, for instance, there was a point where we had a corner. We had a set play. We had a free kick which Lanzini took. The goalkeeper caught it. And just the way Ogbonna sort of runs past the goalkeeper, he's looking elsewhere, but bang, he just hits him with his shoulder a little bit. And we've I don't know if you've seen the footage of when we played Chelsea of him giving Kepa some gob. I think we may well find that Ogbonna's a little bit naughtier than a lot of us may well give him credit for. But again, as a defence, we were easy to get at. But I do think a lot of the blame for that was because of the midfield. Not individually, but our lack of a defensive midfielder. Cresswell, I mean, he was okay. You could see the difference. I'm loath to pin my colours to the mast and say, "Oh, this Rico Henry's the one we got to get." I'm sure there are numerous left backs. I'm sure there are numerous right backs. Like, I felt it was quite clear that Brentford's left back was better than anything we had to offer. The midfield, okay. I thought they were quite neat, Noble and Wilshere, but they're very samey, and I really do feel we lacked just that defensive cover. There seems to be a big gap between the back four and the midfield, and Brentford seem to be very, very happy to operate in that space. Whereas you've got someone defensive, or maybe Declan Rice, who has his centre backs mentality. He sort of occupies that bit of space, and I thought that space was open all game. Because regardless of whatever you think of Thomas Souček, who works very, very hard, he's not a defensive midfielder. He's not as far as I know, not a converted centre half. He's someone that's going to offer us a goal threat, someone that will run a lot, and he'll do his workload, but he doesn't naturally take up those positions. As I say, but Rice wasn't there. We're going to be looking at this, I'm pretty sure, in the next few days, but maybe we're putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 6. Maybe we're putting 2 and 2 together and coming up with 4. I don't know, but he's got England duty. He's been on holiday. Maybe there's a bit of quarantine, something like that. We know that he wasn't at the photo shoot yesterday for BT and Premier League when they do all their photo shoots to get all the graphics and all the animations ready ahead of the broadcast season. That's all I'll say about that at the moment. Fornals played as a number 10. I like it. I really like it. He set up Yarmolenko's goal. Was great to see. Very, very happy with that. And also, what I also liked was when we saw Lanzini come on in the second half. It was like Lanzini was the number 10 as well. And the reason I particularly liked that was because on the left wing was Diangana in the first half, who I'll speak about in a second. In the second half, it was Felipe Anderson. So it was almost as if Moyes was thinking, okay, these are my left wingers. These are my attacking midfielders. And from that point of view, I was pleased to see Pablo Fornals, as I've been told to say, operating centrally, which is where he has to operate. He's not quick enough to be a winger, as you all know. But yeah, pleased with that. Got an assist. He worked really hard. Diangana didn't have the impact that he had against Ipswich, clearly, but there's a player there. There really is a player there. He's happy to take the ball into contact. He's happy to stand his defender up and try and dribble past them. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I don't think anybody played well today. Even probably my favourite player at the moment is Jared Bowen. I don't think Bowen played particularly well when he came on, but he tried. It just seemed to be a lower energy about us today. But I thought Diangana was better than Felipe Anderson, who also wasn't as poor as he had been in the previous game. Yarmolenko scored the goal. I thought he was going to get injured. He got hacked down a little bit as well. But he was okay. Sebastian Haller was, I'm just going to end up repeating myself in what I said about everybody else. A little bit lackluster, a little bit lacking in energy, but he carries himself in that manner anyway, doesn't he? Really, quite neat in the build-up play. Doesn't give the ball away very much. That's what I say about Haller. Dropping deep. I think maybe he was frustrated, so he was dropping deep into midfield to try and make something happen, but that pairing of Noble and Wilshere wasn't really happening. It was neat. There's nothing terrible to say, but nothing brilliant to say on the midfield pairing. In terms of the players that came on, Bowen, I've alluded to. I just love the guy's work rate. I really do, and he was really trying to make things happen. Sometimes trying to play 1-2s with people who weren't looking to play 1-2s with him. So rather than being a 1-2, it ended up being a 1. Anderson. You felt Anderson was trying, and when I say trying, but again, if you look back at 80, what did I put it? 82 minutes and 20 seconds on the, not of the video, but actually on the clock in that game, 82 minutes and 20 seconds. That sums up Felipe Anderson to me. In all honesty, I'd go and watch some Netflix. I wouldn't go and watch any of that game back, but if you do, that's Felipe Anderson. It just didn't work. It didn't come off. Antonio, fantastic. The drive, the determination, and the skill, let's be fair, to get into that position and the awareness to square it to Souček was absolutely fantastic. He finished this last season as our best player. I was hoping he was going to start the season as next player. Quite crudely hacked down, really. And I'm quite cross about it. It's a friendly. Brentford were playing well. There was no need to do it. He's injured. The only question that needs answering is how long is he injured for? I think it's the hip, and it was a heavy fight. He's a big lump. He's a big, heavy, muscly bloke. Antonio. The geezer took his legs from under him, and he fell. Bang. Sorry if that hurt your ears on the microphone. It bang on his hip. Not good. We keep our fingers crossed for him. Certainly. Who else have we got to deal with? Masuaku. I mean, what do you want me to say? I don't really know what to say about these players. I've watched a decent left back today. It wasn't Masuaku, and the one time he did get into the sort of position that I saw Rico Henry get into for Brentford, the one time I saw him get into that position, he didn't do the cross. He it floundered. He hesitated. Like when they try and, like he sort of stops the ball, doesn't quite go to the wing and sort of twitches his foot over the ball, waiting to try and confuse the defender. Well, he didn't confuse the defender. The defender just stood there. He tried to cross it and he crossed it straight against the defender and it got a throw in. Not impressed. Rarely am I impressed, quite frankly. Lanzini, not as good as you saw the other day. For those of you that saw the Wickham game, tried to make things happen. I don't feel that he's constantly losing the ball like he was, but I would still start Fornals in that position. He looks to be better. He's not disinterested. There were points last season where he looked disinterested. He looked like couldn't control the ball. That's not what I'm seeing with Lanzini at the moment. I'm seeing someone who's trying to make things happen. And for that reason, unless a bid comes in for him, then I would very much start him behind Fornals and maybe bring him off the bench and have them both vying for that number 10 position. Next season, Souček, I've discussed. Lots of work rate, scores goals. This guy scores goals. I don't know what value you put on that in terms of monetary and transfer value and whatnot, but the ability to someone to provide goals from midfield, both from set plays and from open play, both with a bounce and with a foot. I like him. He's a good player. Cullen, neat and tidy. There's not a lot of difference, in all honesty, between Cullen and Noble and Wilshere. And the small, diminutive players, low centre of gravity, twist and turn quite quickly, play the ball neatly. In many respects, I mock the commentator for not realising Cullen had come on, but it's an easy mistake to make. Cullen, Wilshere, no one sort of look the same, didn't they? Basically, they'll do the same job, all occupy the same position. There you go. Coventry came on for Mikel Antonio, so that was not much of a chance to shine. The game was at strolling pace by them. There we go. So I mean that's about it. I've not really read the chat because I'm trying to do this as quickly as I can to get on the rest of my day. They've already taken up enough of it. But I see Fo Sheezy in the chat is saying it's Bournemouth next Saturday, which is the Betway Cup. As I mentioned earlier on in this video, the Reading game is cancelled. The glory of the Betway Cup awaits. I do want to see more of a nailed down team now when we're going towards this next game against Bournemouth. I want to see. There's two things I want to see. I want to see the first team playing against Bournemouth. Whoever starts against Newcastle, I want to see that team against Bournemouth. I want to see more intensity from them. And just before I finish up as well, I think it's now time for Moyes to get the checkbook. Well, it's not Moyes' checkbook. Imagine Moyes be disgusted saying, "Well, chairman, why am I getting my checkbook out? You get your check." It's time for the chairman to get his checkbook out or backs transfer and get the backs to backs his manager. Basically, we need some defenders. The rest of it, I think we can cope with. Would it be nice to have an additional striker to? Yes, it would. But at the moment, we've got one striker there. We've got a young striker. We've got, we've got Antonio who can play there. I think Bowen could probably play there. I think Yarmolenko could play there. It seems at the moment we've almost got no fullbacks. Sorry, I should probably mention Ben Johnson as well. That Johnson came off the pitch. Johnson is a defender. Okay, that's what he does. He defends. He takes up good positions in the box when the ball comes over from the opposite area. If someone tries to run past him, he fouls them. He fouled two people today. Just stop them running past him. I'm not sure he is the attacking fullback that David Moyes ideally wants or used to have at Everton with Seamus Coleman and Leighton Baines on the other side. But he is a defender, first and foremost. He will do what's necessary. He takes up good defensive positions. He's strong in a tackle. He's good at heading and stuff like that. So, yeah, there we go. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Nervous ahead of the season. I was feeling a bit better after the other ones. Let's not read too much into it. I think with a bit more intensity, a stronger first team, one or two signings, we'll be looking all right. We'll catch up with you in a week.